So my Cobra is a 10th anniversary edition, so it has these wheels on it. These are the 10th anniversary wheels. All the 10th anniversary Cobras came with these in 2003. They're not my favorite wheel, but they do belong on the car. When I see them on there, the red seats, you know it's the right package. But I also like the original Terminator wheels much better. I acquired a set of the non-chrome Terminator wheels, which are known as the satin wheels or the polished wheels, and I had them on the car for a little while. They have really nice tires on them, and I bought these from a friend who was getting rid of them, and I just thought they were special, so I didn't want them just to go away. I thought he should have kept them for his car for originality, but I ended up buying them, and I've had them on my car for a little while, and I think they look really good. They're a great looking wheel, but I always like the chrome ones better, and I do have a full set of extra chrome ones, so now I've actually gone ahead and put those on the car, so now both of my Terminators have the chrome Terminator wheels on them, and that's how I've always wanted it to be. Now I still have my 10th anniversary wheels and the satin wheels. I can switch around. It really doesn't hurt to run the car in different platforms, but anyway, I really like how that looks. So I took the Cobra and my wife took the GT, and we came here to the high school. This is where we both went to high school. I thought how cool it would be if this was the high school parking lot in 2004. It would have to be 04 because that GT's in 04. And if my wife and I had these cars, but back then we weren't dating or anything, so maybe we would have dated if we had the matching cars, or maybe it would have caused trouble, and I don't know. Things work out the way they do for a reason. But anyway, here's my Cobra and my GT at our high school, looking fantastic with the Terminator chrome wheels. I love it. Absolutely love it. I kept looking back. This is the first time I've driven it around with the chrome wheels on it, except for years ago I did put the chrome wheels from my orange Cobra on it just to see what it looked like, because I've always wanted a torch red Terminator with chrome wheels. And so now I have it back the way I like it, and I just couldn't stop taking videos and pictures and looking at it and enjoying it. And so I really love this look. And part of me does still see the red seats and kind of feel like, wait, those don't belong on there. But the other part of me is like, no, those are my favorite wheels on this car. And so it's nice to have those on there. I really like them. So I had a good time there. We actually went to the city pool next to the high school and spent the evening there with the kids. And then my mom was going to head down to Las Vegas to pick up my sister from the airport, who lives in Texas. And the day before, I had just gone down to Vegas to the racetrack to watch the Midnight Mayhem races, which I really enjoy. And I kind of wanted to go by pick-a-part while I was down there, but I didn't have enough time to do both. And so it's the next morning, and she's going to go down there anyway. I think, well, sometimes going down to pick-a-part isn't worth a trip just by itself, because you can get there and maybe stuff's not there that you were hoping to find. And so in this case, this would be a great opportunity to go down and look around and see if there's anything left on some of these cars that I've noticed, because you can see the cars on the website. And I thought that'd be a great time to go do that. So I just jumped in the car with her, the Suburban. It had lots of room. Took out the back seats, and I thought, let's see what we can come back with. I did notice there was a GT down there that had the same cloth seats I have as my silver car, and the silver car's driver's seat's a little worn out, so I thought maybe I'd buy one of those. And there were some 5-spoke stock Starfish style GT wheels on another GT, as well as a set of bullet wheels on another GT. So I thought if any of those are left, maybe I'll get a set just to have around if they have nice tires and everything. So we're gonna go ahead down there, and as we were driving, we saw a really cool dark shadow gray Mustang GT coming by. It had louvers on the back. It might have actually been mineral gray, kind of hard to tell sometimes. But it was kind of cool to see. I kept driving up to show it a little bit, get a little video of it. It had bullet wheels. The paint was peeling on the roof. It was pretty cool to see though. Nice looking GT going down the road there. And so that's fun. Very good looking car. I was really happy to see it. You can see the roof paint's peeling. So here at the wrecking yard, the one that had bullet wheels on it, 3 of the bullet wheels were gone and the 4th was damaged really bad, so that was too bad. And this pickup part didn't really have much in it, so we actually had enough time to go to the other one in Henderson, and I found these immaculate GT seats. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, those are so good. And I found a set of brown ones, they're parchment color, for my brother's GT. It had a little hole in it, but he didn't mind because the rest of the seat is way better than the one that's in his GT. So it was kind of hard to get these out. I did bring a jump box, and I was able to put power to the distribution box and the strut tower bolt because the ground cables on the battery were cut and stuff. So I was able to move the seat back and forth to get it out, although it was difficult, and it was like 107 degrees outside and like 150 degrees inside the car, so it was just really hot. I did bring a lot of water, so that helped out. I did have one of the bolts on the seat shear off that held it to the car. Luckily that was fine, but it was hard to turn that bolt anyway, so luckily my impact was able to break it off and get it out. And then I couldn't get the one out for my brother, and we actually left pick apart, and then we realized we still had some time, so we went back and I tried again, and I did get it out finally. It was hard to get the seat to move with the power distribution box and overriding the power box because it didn't detect the battery and stuff. And so even though I was only there for the driver's seat, I couldn't leave the other seats behind. They were so nice, and I wanted to have a nice full set. Then back driving around Vegas, I saw this dark shadow gray GT. This was a different one, didn't have the louvers on it. But that was cool to randomly see in a parking lot, looking good. Love seeing these New Edge Mustangs around. They're becoming fewer and fewer. Again, I'm pretty sure it's dark shadow gray, could be mineral gray. Hard to tell at a distance, but has bullet wheels, chin spoiler. Looked really good, and it's sad that I saw so many GTs in the wrecking yard when there's a nice one out there, so hopefully that one stays on the road. So got the seats back and got them all unloaded, and they look pretty good. And I thought I'd like to clean these up a little bit with my extractor. The next day we took the GTs both to church, just the way it worked out, and I was enjoying having these cars together. Both of them have been cars that were wrecked and parted out, and I put them back on the road. So after being at pick apart and seeing all the ones that are dying off, it's nice to see that these two were saved. I'm proud of that. Now I started thinking about the seats in these cars, and I thought, maybe I want to put that full set of cloth seats in this zinc yellow GT. There was a zinc yellow GT like this that was for sale that I tried to buy, and it had the cloth seats, and I thought it looked kind of cool. Right now I have these Mach 1 seats in here, which are comfortable, but they're a little torn up. And I do like them a lot, and they're still very comfortable when you sit in them. They still hold you nice and everything. And I'm a little on the fence, and I thought, well, it's easy. You can put them in, and then you can take them out. You don't have to get rid of them. You can just try it out for a little while. You can swap them around. And so I thought, okay, I'll just go ahead and start by putting them in the yellow GT and see how it is. But first I wanted to clean them up and extract them. And so I had all the seats laid out. I was like, I'm going to take them outside now and clean them up. You see I have the extractor and a steamer and solution and a shop vac, and the seats are just a little bit dirty, and unfortunately somebody ripped the back seat out of it when it was in the car in the wrecking yard. They got their greasy hands all over it and stuff. But I thought they'll clean up pretty good. A lot of people take the back seats out of the cars just to look for change, and they kind of pull them out and throw them around. So Anyway, these looked really good though. I was really happy with them, and so I just wanted to show what they look like before we get started. And there's a little bit of something there, and that's going to come out. You'll see right here. It's very satisfying. So I started by just vacuuming them out because I just wanted to get all the junk off of them, you know, because that's all stuff that you don't want to get stuck in the extractor. And then I went ahead and steamed them, and I don't know if this helped much. I thought this would do good to break up some of that darkness on the seat. Obviously sanitized, but they're probably sanitized from sitting at 100 and something degrees in the car for a few days anyway. You can see this spot here. This is what we're gonna work on first. This is what I wanted to get out, and I didn't know if it was a stain or if it was just something gross. Maybe somebody put their hand on it when it was in the junkyard or sat on it or whatever. But here we go. When we start sucking it up, you can see oh, how gross that is. It's nice to see it coming out in the extractor, but yuck. But that's good. That's very happy to see that. And the seats are looking really good too. That's coming out nicely. So I was pretty pleased with that, and I made several passes over the seats. The problem is you don't want to get like a scrub brush and like scrub the seat a lot before you do this, because that will fray up the fabric. And so you just have to be really careful with them, but you want to get this junk out and, you know, keep them wet with the sprayer and stuff. So you can see this is what came out of those seats. Pretty gross and pretty satisfying actually to see how they came out. The back seats, I was happy to get started on those as well. They looked good, but again, they were a little dirty. So it was like 100 and something degrees outside, so I was happy to let these sit out here and dry out throughout the day. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this so badly right now, because I knew that it's been really hot lately and that they'll dry nicely, and then I can install them in the car. And they didn't even take very long to dry. It was so hot. I was like, wow, these are drying quickly. I can go ahead and start installing them. So I took the Mach 1 seats out, and I started with just the driver's seat, and I vacuumed and cleaned it up. And then I had one Mach 1 seat and one GT seat in there, and I sat in both of them, and I went back and forth, and I thought, I don't know which one I like better. The Mach 1 seats grab you around the side really well with the bolster, but the GT seats are newer and look nicer. I mean, not newer, I guess, but they did look nicer. So I just installed the full set of cloth seats for now in here, and I think it looks really nice. I'm really happy with these. The GT seats have a different pattern than the V6 seats, so they are specific to the GT, and they look really good. So now here at dusk, when it's a little bit less harsh with the lighting, you can come out and see how these looked. I think they turned out very nicely. I drove it around the block a few times and enjoyed it. I think it felt really nice to have a new set of seats. It kind of gives the whole car a nice feeling. Again, the Mach 1 seats were really nice as well to drive around in, and it's funny how the seats can change how the car feels. Every car I own has different seats in it, even if they're the same style seat, and they all feel different when you sit in them. So it was kind of a fun experience, but really nice set. I looked up some of the information I found in the seat back on one of these, and it showed where the old owner lived, and it said it had her age, so she's like 95 years old. So she probably took really good care of this car. So here's the Mach 1 seats. I took a bunch of pictures of them just to show what they looked like. I thought I might as well just put them for sale and see if somebody wants to repair them. And if they don't sell, then it doesn't bother me because I still like them. And you know, they're kind of rough. You know, this part that the seat selector is kind of broken out. It still works, but it's loose, and you know, they're just a little bit rough, but they're still cool. The back seat is out of my '04 Silver GT, because when I bought the car, it didn't have the front seats, but it still had the back ones, and they were really nice because they were only like 60,000 miles on them and probably never sat in. And they are really nice. I mean, I thought they looked really good when they were in the car. So these are just pictures I took to list them for sale, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to sell them. I might just put them back in. I don't know. I guess it's a good problem to have, a lot of choices. So the thing that bothered me about the interior on this car next was the airbag. It was kind of floppy, and I did get a new set of airbags and an airbag module for the Silver GT. And where that comes into play is the passenger airbag on this car still looks good, even though it's blown. On the yellow GT, it's like more torn apart, and so I thought I could put this one in the yellow GT, and I could put the new airbags in the silver GT with the new module, and that way both cars have like a nicer look, especially the yellow one, because when you're driving it with the yellow one, that passenger airbag kind of flaps around. It's just torn out more. So this is where the airbag bolts are, and I think it was an 8mm ratcheting wrench I had to use to get up in there and get that out, and so it was pretty difficult. I'll show it here on the other GT when I go to take it out. But anyway, so that's how the silver one looks now with a new airbag. Now here in the yellow one, see, this is all floppy and terrible looking. That bothered me, but maybe one day I'll get airbags for this car again too, but for now I just wanted to get this one out. So I tried to shoot a little bit of a video on this just to kind of show where it was. You get under here and there's the whole air vent here, part of the HVAC system. You kind of have to squeeze the wrench up between it, and there's those two bolts that I was showing, and so here's where this one is. And if you get on it and start using the ratcheting wrench, then you can get to it pretty easily. The problem is putting it back in. It's really difficult to get those bolts started. They go through a J-clip, which is those little metal clips that act as a nut. And so you can get them out pretty easily, but getting them back in, they keep falling down on you and stuff. And it was a little more difficult than I'd like to admit, but I was able to go ahead and do that. So here's, getting in here, and it helps having some light up there so you can actually see what you're doing. But yeah, it wasn't that easy, and you're twisted upside down while you're doing it. So a lot of work, but it's gonna be a lot better now, so I can drive the car around and not have to look over and see that flapping airbag. And I already replaced the airbag front covers on the driver's side with just the covers, because the junkyard wouldn't let me take actual airbags. So the car looks like it has airbags in it, but it doesn't. And so anyway, you can see this was a little difficult, but I was able to get on there and get those out. And so that's just a little bit of the process. I thought I'd film that and show everybody what it looks like and see, how difficult, or maybe you might think this is easy, but it wasn't that easy to get those out.
Here, you gotta pull that Christmas tree out. Because you gotta disconnect this. It's gonna pull through. That's gonna pull out with the airbag. Harness doesn't get stuck in it. Look at that, see that? That's getting stuck underneath it. Okay, so that piece is trying to get stuck underneath there, so you gotta be careful. There's those two J-clips. They're really annoying to get back in. They're in there.
So the next day, I enjoyed driving the car and going and getting something to eat and having new seats in it. And it was like, oh, this is great. This is really fun. The airbag looked good and stuff. And then something else I got at the wrecking yard out of that same GT was a battery tray, which I needed for the yellow car because it was shattered. It didn't have one. And I got this shifter boot and bezel. Now, somebody had ripped it apart at the wrecking yard to get the shifter out when they tried to get the transmission, but the pieces were all there. And the bezels are so hard to find with the bottom part. I'll show you in a minute. But these battery trays, they clean up so good. Like, they look terrible, but man, I've always had them clean up nicely. Tiny bit of surface rust on there. They all have that just from batteries leaking and stuff over the years. And so I went ahead and degreased this and cleaned it up, and it looked really good when I was done. I got in there with a toothbrush and stuff. Let it dry out in the sun. Again, it's really hot today, so that's going to help it dry quickly, and it looked really good. And I needed one of these, so that was pretty good. And so the shifter bezel, you know, they ripped this part out, which is fine. I've glued several of those back together. Here you can see it says it's midnight black, which is the same as dark charcoal. So pretty cool to see that sticker still on it, and it had most of the clips. But this shifter base here with the rubber, those are always torn up. Like every one I've ever seen or had was torn up, you know, except for my Cobras, you know, or low mileage cars. But I thought that's worth grabbing, so I went ahead and cleaned it up. The only problem was I could not get that shift knob off to take it apart. And the shift knob was already starting to tear, and just twisting with my hand, it ripped it apart even more. So it was a leather, you know, premium shift knob, but it was pretty trashed. The nice thing about these leather shift knobs is you can cut the stitching and rip the leather part off, and the factory knobs underneath. So I decided to go ahead and clean up the shifter too. These are always torn up in every Mustang I've ever had, but this car was so original that it came out of in the junkyard that nothing was touched on it. So basically it's really clean. The shifter's a little dirty, but it did have the ball on the bottom of the shifter too, which these caps can be annoying sometimes if you break one and you don't want to have to wait to order one. So, but this is all good parts. It's still stapled. The rubber is still stapled here to it. So kind of cool to have, you know, just as a backup. It'll join my arsenal of Mustang parts that I have. As for the shifter and bezel, the knob is trashed, but I mean, you can cut the stitching off and it's still a good knob underneath that, so that'll be a spare. But these, a lot of times these separate, and so what I've done in the past is I'll put some really like high grade glue, like a Gorilla Glue around here, and then I'll put it on, and then I'll put rubber bands around the whole thing, crisscross, to hold tension against the bag so that it glues itself back in there. And I've had pretty good luck with that. So it's a nice midnight black or dark charcoal shifter bezel to have. Currently the one in my yellow GT has the bottom of an interior upgrade package one, so it doesn't match. So it's kind of cool to have an all black one now. And the battery tray cleaned up nicely. While we're on the subject, my friends Ron and Gina sent me this beautiful shift knob that they really like on their Mach 1. And it's a little bit smaller than the factory one, you can see here, but they really like how it fits in your hand. It's a nice leather wrapped one, so I do have options now, so that's pretty nice. So that's something I can use. And then I can cut the stitching off of this, and I'll still have the hard plastic one. You can see where it did get divoted in there a little bit by the vise, because that was the only way I could get it off. But I had to get this off so that I could get the shifter apart and everything, so it would not budge. I even sprayed some PB Blaster in the threads and everything, but anyway, no big deal. I got the whole shifter assembly and everything, all was a package deal at the junkyard. So as you can see, just cutting some of those threads underneath is still a cool shift knob, and this will clean up. It's just the factory shift knob, not leather wrapped. So that's the update for now. Always something fun going on around here. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for more Mustang content.